Welcome back. The fight before Christmas rages on. It's still the first match of the day, tied up now 1-1. Spawning in the top right corner of the map, it's going to be Root Gaming's Yellow Zerg player, Petraeus.
In the bottom left as the red Protoss, it's Lilbow.
Alright, so Lilbow is... that was just like Protossingly impressive, I think. That's the best way to describe that. Not a lot, like, it's really easy to look at that game at a glance and be like, wow, Blink Stalkers are really cool, whatever, Sentry's OP nerf. But there's a lot of really smart decision making on Lilbow that game, and as much as we kind of made light of this situation, that proxy robo was straight up the coolest thing. I really enjoyed that choice.
Yeah. I mean, you see that more often, I would say, in like PvP. It's still rare, obviously, but sometimes you see against like a Dark Shrine or whatever, and that's really cool. But to see it against a Roach player was certainly interesting. But Petraeus did kind of fall into that trap, just like, well, if I get enough Roaches, I'll probably win, right? And it's like, well, actually, 200 supply of Roaches is actually kind of bad, especially when you're going down to ramp against force fields.
Yeah.
So, but he never had that drone count. First he made all of those lings that actually did great damage. They completely shut down that first attack, so that was well worth not droning there. But then afterwards, instead of droning, he did get all those Roaches. If he had been droning, maybe Lilbow still has all that time. But Petraeus is using that time too, not to get Roaches, but get to like Hydras, which would obviously be like a lot better.
Well, we have a hatchery first here out of Petraeus this game, and a very quick Nexus out of Lilbow. Nobody playing too cheesy, and I kind of like that. It's after watching Pulse games last night, I think I've had my cheese fill for the week.
I think my favorite Zerg build is actually like the 13-13, to be honest.
Yes.
I really, not just because of the series versus parting. I liked it before that.
I liked it before that because I'm a scumbag, but it was really cool to see that actually get used with effectiveness. And oh bother. Hey guys, can you tell who's lagging out? I think it might be the Observer. They're of course with us, so sad to see him get kicked out, but we'll make sure they get back into the next game. But as far as this goes, I mean, Petraeus. You think he's trying to select drones or select larva? No? Okay. I think for... I don't know, Nexus first is kind of hard to get away with a lot of the time, because you usually do have Zerg players who are a little bit on edge, go pull first, follow up with that quick gas. It might be a 13-13, but to build off the point of what you were bringing, just early aggression against someone who does this can be quite a bit of pain to deal with.
Alright. I do like Petraeus. I think he's opened up with gas every single game, right? Yeah, killing and then merry-go-round. Yeah. Yeah, definitely taking control of the map, being able to shut down all ins like that. If you can catch the pylon or the stalkers and sentries, then that's absolutely amazing. And Petraeus, I mean, he made the mistake of staying on Roaches. That's a mistake everyone makes. Of course, King Sejon with that tricky ramp, but other than that, I've really liked his gameplay, and I still give him the edge, I guess, in this third game.
Cybercore finishing up in due time. Of course, for Petraeus' sake, happy to see this. Maybe not so happy about the Nexus first, but happy to see the Cybercore is not going to be done, so he doesn't have to worry about losing the Overlord. Second one will most likely be the one that scouts for that important information a little bit later on.
Yeah. I think Overlord's a pretty good map for getting good scouting. The trickiest place you can put a tech building is actually in between the natural and the main, just in that little nice nook right there. Otherwise, anywhere else, it's probably going to be scouted if they remember to send their Overlord anyways. Well, 2 Lings are actually going to be allowed to go into the main, it looks like. Maybe not.
Allowed.
Well, yeah,
I've allowed it to happen. I am Protoss. You may go.
Zealot really couldn't not allow them, but the militia core dealt with that. They're trying to go for a probe, probably was never going to work out. But well, you die. I don't know about pushing out here with the Stalker. Obviously, speed is on the way, not quite done yet. 6 minutes, just like, the Terran player would know that timing. Lilbow probably does as well.
That's kind of a cool snipe on the creep tumor.
Yeah.
Like, this Zello is just like... I don't know, really effective, as weird as that is to consider. Stinting that creep spread means it's going to take a little bit longer for the creep to go out, which means the queens can't really respond to this threat as quickly. And while I really don't expect one Stalker, one Zealot, one Mothership Core to kill a hatchery, this is a lot more damage allowed than what normally would be.
Creep tumor dead, game over. Well, here's what the problem is, right? The Ling speed finishes up when you lose the Stalker. So... Rip. I don't know. Wait, actually, did Lilbow ever scout that it was gas? Okay, well, that maybe explains it. He never scouted that gas was taken. It's still a risky thing to do. Like, speed could be finishing up around 6:15, and you're gonna lose your Stalker unless you want to burn a recall. And so far, like, Lilbow's problem has been like a lack of energy on the Mothership Core. That's a silly problem to have, but it has been, really. Yeah, 92 energy, 72 energy. Like, every time I click on it, it's something to energy. Like, just not quite 100 with triple digits. I guess if you had 102, wouldn't be a problem. So, I don't know, what do you think? Like, we got a lot of gateways coming down, but this is 4 gates off of 2 bases. Like, that's not the number that really gets scary. It's if you see 7 or something get slapped down. What do you think he does for this one? Expands. It's always always fun expanding as a Protoss. Sure, you know, you get like force fields and stuff. They're pretty good, right? Every time I see this move where you do try and expand, you got the sentries, but like, oh wait, there's 12 roaches on the way that you never scouted. Surprise, you're dead. I always sit there and I'm like, I'm really glad I'm here. Sometimes I do as well. I mean, that attack that hits that early with like the 7 roaches or, you know, whatever, as the 3rd is getting up, it's pretty dedicated. I mean, you're not on a very big drone count, but it does seem so hard to deal with. Just, you know, 10 players don't have to deal with force fields usually, so that's why we're so bad, Rifkin. Fair enough. I'm so salty that a siege tank doesn't count as a massive unit to break force fields. Like, I kind of get the Thors with their tiny little feet crush them because the body's so big, but yo, it's a tank. It's designed all-terrain access, you know? Like, roll up in that force field, crush it down. I do believe that if you can pick up a siege tank, you'll be able to drop it on a force field and break it. Oh man, please. New meta Seems stuff. Natural to me. Although, if we're gonna be honest, like a lot of the times when you see force fields, if we're talking about medevacs, it's not about like dropping units on it to break it, it's more like just picking your units up and going around. Yeah, I guess you know, you can have that going for us. Logic, whatever, it's so dumb. One thing I'm actually really curious about is Lilbow going to throw down 4 cannons, 3 cannons here at the natural base. I know Parting's been the most proactive person about this, but we've been seeing more and more Protoss players invest in heavier cannon defense, especially here on the the right side of this 3rd. It is, I think, a very good move. It buys you so much time. It actually adds a lot of damage if they don't automatically focus fire it. And keeping your 3rd initially against attacks like this can be very difficult for the Protoss player. If there's more units, they might be coming off to the left side, and then you have to decide where you use your force fields and what you give up to do it. But Petraeus not really committing to a large attack, especially transferring into swarm hosts. I think... No, he hasn't seen it. Lilbow hasn't seen it, right? This is not going to be Lilbow's first rodeo, though. And he might see what the hell he's name Phoenix, depending on if he gets that man. To see that wiggling and... I mean, there's always the fear of pathogen glands because you've got massive, like, stalkers. But, I mean, swarm hosts are kind of, I think, I don't know, perhaps a little more scary. It's like the Oracle effect for Terran, right? You're just trying to check off, like, what could kill you most off of what you've seen. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Now, he does still have these roaches and lings, so while it won't be, like, a double-pronged attack with roaches and lings, it'll still be a double-pronged attack, potentially. If Petraeus feels comfortable enough to place his swarm host off of creep, you know, maybe at the Zelnaga and, you know, attack the natural, the swarm host, yeah, he could do that. It's a little risky. It's always risky getting your swarm host out. I mean, swarm hosts are kind of the defensive unit, not so much the offensive unit, but it could have happened. Right now they're going to defend, though. This gold. And if they defend the gold, I mean, Petraeus is going to be in a pretty good state here. 74 drones, 4 bases, a gold is one of them. Lilbow wants to do something. Well, he wants to push up that ramp by the looks of it, that's for certain. The locust counts are not quite high enough to deal with this. Swarm hosts, once they get up in number, they're, oh my god, almost unstoppable. But in the low amounts they have, with force fields going down especially, he's going to weed out the roaches, and then he'll be able to just blink on top of the swarm host when the observer gets here. So just biding his time for now. He's going to move around to the right side. Again, he can always force field behind him if he's a little bit worried. Yeah.
Man, it is gross how bad Sentry DP is. Nice snipe on that first Swarmhost. Second one goes down. Pretty good shots here out of Lilbow. And this time he's got the energy for a recall. This time he's got the ability to fall back home if this gets a little too out of hand.
Oh, but he just lost all
wow.
those sentries.
Yeah, I don't think he was paying attention to that because, my goodness, that was like 6 sentries dead in an instant.
Yeah. I mean, the force fields on the ramp to the gold killed a lot of his sentries as well, and then of course he lost these ones to this, the swarm host. But Petraeus, you could see he pulled the drones. He was a little worried that he made a critical error in losing the mobile army and also not taking down these middle rocks. I was very surprised that wasn't already taken down. He is getting on it right now, but that could have been really bad. Blink Stalkers could have gotten up to the natural even, like if they really were dedicated. Now this is pretty good. Not mining here.
Yeah, he's gonna be able to blink out. I like this Warp Prism too. Time in and time out, we see a Warp Prism and Blink Stalkers be the best way to deal with Swarm Hosts. So it is really odd to me that he went into Swarm Hosts. Like, you expect Blink Stalkers, sure, but maybe you don't expect a Warp Prism. Either way, like, Swarm Hosts I don't think were the greatest thing to open with. There are going to be 2 Colossus at a time, holy moly. So he's going to definitely eventually get up to that 5 count, kind of that magic number to start pushing back the Locust Waves without having to dance around them.
Where is that Spire? Oh, it's at the natural. Okay, so Lilbow has not seen the Spire. I mean, a Muta transition is never off the table. I feel like that's more like the Oracle thing. Like, you never take out old Muta switch, but...
I kind of feel like even though the Mutas are going to be incredibly dangerous and don't underestimate them, I kind of think if Lilbow just puts down like 4 or 5 cannons for base, like he's starting to do, he'll be okay. I mean, they'll buy time for the Blink Stalkers to respond, and that's all you really need to do, because once the Stalkers get there, with +3 weapon upgrades especially, those Mutas are not going to do much. Yeah,
that's true. There are a couple of cannons, so he must have at least thought this was coming, or been worried about something getting into his main. He has a lot of Colossus and a lot of Blink Stalkers, so this army, the Mutas definitely can't take this on, but he still has Swarm Hosts, and he still has those Lings and Roaches.
Well, breaks through that one pylon that was going to wall this off. Muta's, of course, regrouping over here. But Lilbow saying, I don't want to fight at home. I don't care about this defense. I know Lings and Mutas can't outrace my damage. This is so many Blink Stalkers and a lot of Colossus pushing forward. But I just don't know that Lilbow actually has the amount of buildings to should have win a base freeze. I don't know. Probes being pulled here in the natural. This is getting a little bit scary. Stalkers still being warped in. A couple cannons were here in the photon overcharge. He's doing a great job of picking off these Mutalisks. I think he's going to hold it home pretty well. And now Petraeus is in a whole hell of a lot of trouble at home.
Yeah, I don't know about just bypassing that third like he did. You know, breaking down the pylon and go like, yeah, no, I'm trying to go to the third. Or the natural. Mutas are still trickling out. The Spire has not died yet, but it's really not near enough to that, like, oh my god, he could win if he just uses the Glaive Worms at all.
I think the upgrades are just too strong for Lilbow right now. You might not have any armor upgrades, but these Stalkers are going to kill anything they shoot.
Yeah. I mean, his harass would be really good if he wasn't losing paces on the other side of the field.
Lilbow getting a little bit complacent. Only 1 sentry remaining, can force field off that ramp, keep all the Locusts out if he wants.
Oh, we didn't kill the Spire? Okay.
No, not quite. I still really don't think that Spire is that big of a threat just yet, though. I mean, the Stalker count is so high. They're going to one-shot each Mutalisk as they start focusing in, but good game's going to be called. Petraeus will fall, and Lilbow will take the first series of the day. And I